Anna and I flew from Warsaw to Bodrum for a 10-day trip around Turkey. The hotel was delightful, but we needed to find somewhere to get money out of an ATM. That was no easy task. This map shows our tour. Ephesus was an ancient port city. It was once considered the most important Greek city and the most important trading centre in the Mediterranean region. Throughout history, Ephesus survived multiple attacks and changed hands many times between conquerors. It was also a hotbed of early Christian evangelism and remains an important archaeological site and Christian pilgrimage destination. Ephesus was laid upon a grid system such as any other Hellenistic ancient city. According to this layout, major public buildings are located along the principal streets. One of the main streets of Ephesus, Arcadian, runs between where the harbour and the Greek theatre were. The Greek theatre is the largest in Anatolia and has a capacity of 25,000 seats. The Prytaneum served as the official administrative building or the city hall. The Temple of Domitian is dedicated to the imperial cult of the Flavian dynasty. We're looking down Curetis Street. The Temple of Hadrian was built before 138 AD by P. Quintilius. I'm guessing that modesty wasn't an issue at this era. The Library of Celsus is one of the few remaining examples of great libraries from the ancient world. It is the third largest library in the Greco-Roman world, only behind those of Alexandria and Pergamum. It is believed to have held around 12,000 scrolls. A case of honesty in advertising. We saw this as we were travelling to Pemmicarley. My comment of terrorists brought a giggle. These men played amazing tricks with the ice cream and made it quite difficult for tourists to actually collect their purchase. Pemmicarley means cotton castle in Turkish and is famous for its carbonate mineral left by flowing thermal spring water. The terraces are made up of travertine, which is deposited by mineral water from the hot springs. There are 17 springs with temperatures ranging up to 35 degrees. Lots of people took the long walk right down to the township, but the water was incredibly hot and the surface was painful. I started to have a go but gave up. This is the ancient city of Hierapolis. It was built on top of the travertine formations. The swimming pool looked lovely, but we didn't try it. The Mevlana Museum started life as the Dervish Lodge of the Mevlevi order, better known as whirling dervishes. It was incredibly crowded inside. We were given cotton overshoes so we didn't have to take off our shoes. The museum also houses the mausoleum of Jalal ad-Din Muhammad Rumi. He was a Persian Sufi mystic. didn't actually see any dervishes whirling. This remarkable statue outside our hotel was fed by a hot spring. The safety record of ballooning in Turkey is not good, so I wasn't tempted. Cappadocia is just southeast of Ankara and has unique geological features called fairy chimneys. Large cone-like formations were created over time by erosion of the relatively soft volcanic ash around them. Past cultures have dug into them to create dwellings, castles and even an underground city, which we will see later. Gorem is a town in Cappadocia. Just east of the town is the Gorem Open Air Museum with caves, churches and frescoes from the 10th to 12th centuries. In Turkey, this charm is called the hamsa, and it is made to ward off the evil eye. I was quite amazed to see a hat from Bunnings, Australia, here in Cappadocia. Derinkuyu is an ancient multi-level underground city near the town of Derinkuyu. It extends to a depth of approximately 85 metres. It is large enough to have sheltered as many as 20,000 people, together with their livestock and food stores. It is the largest excavated underground city in Turkey and is one of several underground complexes found throughout Cappadocia. We didn't. The Dark Church is Cappadocia's most famous and beautiful cave church. Anna bought me a razor, but I don't think it worked. We were taken to a leather shop. They had lovely goods and they put on a wonderful fashion show for us. Anna and I lashed out and bought leather jackets. The jackets were specifically tailored to fit us and we picked them up later in the afternoon. This delightful spot was where we had our lunch. I can't resist taking wedding photographs. We left Cappadocia heading towards Ankara. This ceremonial path leads to Ataturk's mausoleum. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk was a Turkish field marshal and a revolutionary statesman. He was the founding father of the Republic of Turkey, serving as its president from 1923 until he died in 1938. We were in time to witness the changing of the guard. There's no fanfare, just a line of new guards, high steps across the courtyard and up the stairway to the mausoleum. They adopt different marching techniques as they proceed. This vintage Mercedes was Ataturk's personal car. The Topkapi Palace is a large museum and library in the east of the Faith district of Istanbul. From 1460s onwards to the completion in 1856, it served as the administrative centre of the Ottoman Empire and was the main residence of its sultans. Letterboxes were around, but not common. The Bosphorus Strait connects the Black Sea to the Sea of Marmara and forms one of the continental boundaries between Asia and Europe. Mescidiya Kiosk was built during the reign of Sultan Abdülmecid. It was the last building added to the palace and is now called the New Kiosk. This is the audience chamber or the chamber of petitions. The Golden Horn is the primary inlet to the Bosphorus from Istanbul. Here we see the Blue Mosque. The German fountain is a gazebo-style fountain in the northern end of the old Hippodrome or Sultanahmet Square. The obelisk of Theodosius is an ancient Egyptian obelisk of Pharaoh Thutmose III, presumably stolen. The Hagia Sophia Grand Mosque is both a mosque and a former church, and it serves as a major cultural and a historical site in Constantinople. The Blue Mosque is only a very short walk from Hagia Sophia. The Blue Mosque is extremely popular. We got up early so that we could be there and beat the tourists. We had to remove our shoes in respect, but we couldn't leave them behind because we left in another entrance, so we had to carry them. The camera really doesn't do it justice. The blue was quite striking. The Blue Mosque was constructed between 1609 and 1617 during the rule of Ahmed I. It is still a functioning mosque. Hagia Sophia is the last of 3 church buildings to be successively erected on the site by the Eastern Roman Empire. It was completed in AD 537. It was a Greek Orthodox church from AD 360 to 1453, except for a brief time as a Catholic church between the Fourth Crusade and 1267. After the fall of Constantinople in 1453, it served as a mosque until 1935, when it became a museum. In 2020, it once again became a mosque. It is vast. The Grand Bazaar is one of the largest and oldest covered markets in the world, has 61 covered streets and 4,000 shops. It's quite a maze. Despite that, it's easy not to get lost. We were taken on a boat trip out of the Golden Horn and up the Bosphorus. The Dolmabahce Palace served as an administrative centre of the Ottoman Empire from 1856 to 1887 and from 1909 to 1922. This is the Four Seasons Hotel. The Kempinski Palace also serves as an hotel. The Ortaköy Mosque was commissioned by Ottoman Sultan Abdülhamid, and its construction was completed about 1854. The Egyptian consulate. This medieval fortress has an unpronounceable name. Anadolu Husari is another fortress. The Kulili Military High School. Years earlier, I took a trip on one of these ferries across the Sea of Marmara. Troy, or Ilion, was first settled around 3600 BC and grew into a small fortified city around 3000 BC. During its 4,000 years of existence, it was repeatedly destroyed and rebuilt. The site that remains is divided into 9 layers, each corresponding to a city built on the ruins of the previous one. I don't think you could be a Roman city without an amphitheatre. The Greeks gave the Trojans this horse which was full of soldiers. I don't have much faith in the Trojans to not realise that the windows indicated there might be something else going on. Pergamon was a rich and powerful ancient Greek city in Aeolus. It transformed into one of the major cultural capital centres of the Greek world. The trouble with Greek ruins is there's usually not much left. This is the temple of my favourite god, Dionysus. The Acropolis Theatre was built in the mid-3rd century BC and is said to have a seating capacity of 10,000 people. This is the remains of the ancient library in the precinct of Athena. The remains of the Temple of Trajan. These carved Medusa heads were in the Temple of Apollo. The House of the Virgin Mary is a Catholic shrine located on Mount Coriolis. Christian and Muslim pilgrims visit the house based on the belief that Mary was taken to this stone house by St. John and lived there for the remainder of her earthly life.